Okay, so that's the best. To talk about macros. What are macros? I talk about them all the time, and to me, when you do something every single day, it just becomes habit. You don't think about, well, what did I not explain that? Because it just is something that is engraved in you almost. So, macros, macronutrients. There are three macronutrients: carbohydrates, fats, and protein. Each one of those equates to your overall calorie consumption. So I know I've talked about before having the periodization of calories being your basic goal, then macros, micros, and so forth. If you're someone that's just tracking your calories at the bottom here, that has nothing to do with macros. If you're taking that next step up, which is what I do for a living, is we identify macronutrients and manipulate the amounts of each of the macronutrients that you are eating in order to reach your body composition goals. So, to start with, carbohydrates yield 4 kcal per gram. Protein also yields 4 kcal per gram, and fat yields 9 kcals per gram. So that's why typically things that have higher fat are going to be more calorie dense, because fat yields a greater amount of calories per gram consumed. So what does that mean per gram consumed? To go to the basics, let's say, let's pick fruit. So fruit, like an apple, is going to be composed of carbohydrates. Everything that you eat is composed of either carbs, fat, protein, a mixture of two, a mixture of three, just one, things like that. So an apple is 99.9% carbohydrates because it's sugar. And for those of you that don't know, sugar is carbohydrates. So if you were to eat one apple, I'm gonna die. She's so cute. If you were to eat one apple this big or one apple this big, do you think it has the same nutritional value? The answer is no. That's why you weigh your food, and we'll get into that later, but in a little bit. This apple, let's say, weighs 100 grams. That would be false. This apple weighs 200 grams. This apple weighs 100 grams. That means that this bigger apple here, imaginary, has twice as many calories or macros even as this smaller apple. So you get your handy dandy food scale out, you weigh it, that's how you know how many grams it is, and that will tell you how much it weighs. So once you know how much it weighs, then you know you can plug it in to an app. So kind of to backtrack, sorry to do that, you can use an app on your phone for free. It's really easy. MyFitnessPal is the most widely used of all of them. I really recommend it. I love it. The database is huge. You can find whatever you want pretty much. So what you would do for this apple, hypothetically, you would go to MyFitnessPal and you would search Apple USDA is what I would use, because it's just a general apple. It's not a specific brand or anything like that. It's just an apple, and an apple is an apple no matter where you eat it, how you eat it, it's an apple. So I would type Apple USDA, hit search, and then it'll pop up and say one apple, 100 grams. And it'll give you facts for it. So you'd click on that, and let's say you are eating that smaller one for 100 grams, you would just log that into your MyFitnessPal app. It would tell you the breakdown of the carbohydrates, and I don't know off the top of my head what 100 grams is. I would guess maybe 17 grams of carbohydrates for that apple. And so let's say it is let's say it's 20, just to make math easier maybe. Let's say it's 20 and you log it for your daily allotment. There's no fat, there's no protein in it, just 20 grams of carbs. And me as a coach, I would give you, let's say, 200 grams of carbs a day, 50 grams of fat, and 100 grams of protein. I'm just winging this. And you just ate 20 out of the 200 grams of carbohydrates that I gave you, which means you have 180 grams of carbs left for the day to eat whatever you want. You have 50 grams still left of fat, and you still have 100 grams left of protein. So that's where flexible dieting kind of comes in. It's kind of a puzzle to see which foods fit what. So I use an apple as an example. You could eat pizza. Like I still say that you can eat whatever foods you want. It's just maybe not as much as you want, but you still can. So you could eat a slice of pizza, and let's say that has 30 carb, 15 fat, 10 protein. You just pull that allotment out of your daily intake, which is 200 carb, 50 fat, 100 protein, right? and that's for one piece. Maybe you're like, I want to eat only pizza today and tap out all my macros. Cool, well then you might be having a protein shake later to hit the rest of your protein goals, or maybe an apple because you just need some extra carbs, no more fat because you've tapped out your fat, whatever it may be. And so that's when you see like clean eating versus flexible dieting. And I think it gets this bad rep that people are just eating cookies all day because, again, I've said it before, that's what people are into. They're like, wow, you can eat that and still reach this body composition goal, which, let's be real, most people's goals are body composition initially. So not to drag on about that, but you can see how using different foods can play into what macros are. So in a nutshell, you would get an allotted amount of macros to hit each day, and your goal is to get as close to those as you can and filling them with whatever foods that you want to fill them with. So if you want to eat just whole foods like vegetables, beans, chicken, fish, whatever you want to eat, that's cool. You'll still hit your macros. If you want to eat pizza and slam protein shakes the rest of the day, that's cool. You'll still hit your macros. You might not feel very good. You might be tired. You might be hungry as heck because whole foods typically keep you fuller longer and make you feel better. But everyone has their preferences. And I know I like to be somewhere in the middle. I like to eat my healthy food, but I like to have bad food too. I have ice cream every single night, real ice cream, not fake ice cream, not Halo Top, but I have real ice cream. Cookies, you guys know my cookies issue, and pizza. I'm getting hungry, so focus. Macros, that's what they are. You need a food scale, you need an app to log your food, or you can handwrite it, but that just sounds like so much time that I used to do that before iPhones were a thing back in the old school days. That ages me a little bit. You need a food scale, a fitness app, and you need a good coach. Don't go online and just search macros because no one's macros are the same. No one's splits are the same. No one's body composition is the same. No one's goals are exactly the same. I strongly recommend it. You can start somewhere. This is what I'm getting now. Yeah, okay. You can start somewhere with just basic logging and see if it's for you. Some people like log and they're saying like, they say, oh, this is way too much. I don't want to do this and it's not for me. That's fine. I will say that 100% of people that start logging do not have success in the first 2 weeks. It takes time. You have to get all those recipes into your MyFitnessPal. You have to get the hang of logging everything before you put it in your mouth. But it makes you more mindful of what you are putting in your mouth. Instead of just being like Cheetos and shoving your face, you have to stop, weigh it out, and be like, okay, this is a real portion. Okay, am I full? Am I okay? What is, like, instead of just mindless eating. So there's benefits and there's downsides to macros and using flexible dieting. But at least this gives you some kind of idea of what macros even are. Why do we care about them? So if someone says, I count my calories, well, that could be good, but you could be all over the place with your macros, and that's why you're not seeing results. If you really want to dial it in, you should have an appropriate amount of a split on your macros so that you can reach your fitness goals better. She's so cute, you guys. Hello, Puka. I'm so sorry. I am a dog person. Okay, so that's it. It's under 10 minutes. That's a win for me. If you have any more questions, you can text me, email me, right on this post, this blog, I guess, whatever it may be. So happy eating.